lesson of 2.2, the location characteristics. This one is on local demographics. So we've done competition, we're moving forward with demographics, which is the way you can describe the population. And when you see Clive or his mates, click for help. So here are the learning steps for this lesson. First of all, we're looking at knowing what demographics means. Then we're going to know some examples of features for demographics. We know how to use the term to describe the population. And then we're going to be able to explain how local demographics influences a retailer's location. The key vocabulary, clearly the word demographics, and here's some of the features. You've got social class, ethnicity, family size, some of the key ones and new ones. You'll know when you've completed the lesson successfully, when you can state what demographics means. You can give examples of demographic profiles of customers, and you can explain how local demographics influences a retailer. The retail careers at the bottom, we've got motor vehicle parts person. So here are the tasks for the final lesson that you've got four. You've got a demographic table, you've got Kerry's sofa store, Jack's Robert's delicatessen, and a location characteristic summary. So that's pretty much for all the lessons. Demographics. The demographics of the area where the retail store is to be located is very important. Demographics is concerned with the population size, the age distribution, the types of household, ethnic minority groups and income of customers. Put simply, are the right type of customers in the area and is there enough footfall to make enough sales? For example, locating Chelsea Football Club shop in Liverpool would not be the best idea. A retailer will consider all these demographic factors when locating a store. The large supermarkets will always look at demographic data before they decide to open a new store in the new area. The range of products offered in the store will often be different for large retailers, depending on the characteristics of the population. The retail business must select a location that matches what they sell to the needs of their potential customers. The table on the right gives you the 7 areas of demographic factors. You've got age, gender, income, social class, ethnicity, religion and family size, and each of the terms have examples on the table as well. So spend a moment just having a quick glance through that. Task 1. Consider the factors in the orange boxes for the following retailers when deciding where to open a new store. So you've got the retailers on the left, you've got TK Maxx, Jimmy Choo, Shoes, Go Outdoors and John Lewis. You've also got a smaller version of the demographic table above on the right to help you out as well. So TK Maxx, the first thing you need to do, average income. This question should help you get your head around what you need to do. We need to think of the average income TK Maxx want their target customers to have. So you've got to think about the types of products they have and what's sold in there, and then you have a desired target market, a desired customer's income that they want. Moving along then, we've got the age range. So what's the question we need to ask ourselves for this? What average age do they want their target customers to have? Now, we're not going to go with all. We're not going to go with all incomes, the average income. What we need to do is make sure that we know who the customer is for TK Maxx. So, if you know who your customers are, then that's where you can actually direct really specific advertising to them to make them encourage them to come back in. So, we want a particular age range. We think who are the regular customers who come in here. Now the third orange question, we're looking at the type of household. This is slightly different, so we're going to use the social class in the demographic table above, and the question we need to consider is the use of social class in terms of the lower, middle or upper class. We're going to have, we're going to simplify them, and we'll go through the definitions right now. So if you look in the example in the table, middle class, you're looking at intermediate managers, teachers and nurses, so you're looking at a certain level of qualifications and education needed that puts people in middle class. Those who've got more who've got jobs where much higher paid than say teachers in nursery, nurses, not nursery, and maybe more qualifications would actually put them in the upper class, and then with those with lower qualification needs and more manual work would be in the working class. So those are the three classes. We're simplifying them. This does talk about social grade B, and you do have socioeconomic groups A, B, C1, C2, D and E, but that's just for reference. We'll just use upper, middle and working class for now. And the final orange question is the population size of the area. So the question you need to consider, basically it's a real place you need to consider, and then you've got to find out the real place's population. So you'll need to use the words we've done in actual location. We looked at urban, rural, local, out of town retail park. So you need to choose a real location so you can actually find the population number. And then once you've got the number, you can then look up which one that TK Maxx or Jimmy Choo or Go Outdoors or John Lewis would like to go for. Task 2, now this is a case study. Greyfield Retail Park is on the outskirts of a town. It is situated at the edge of an industrial estate which has offices and workshops. Close by is a leisure centre, and within half a mile is a traditional local shopping area. On the left is the map of Greyfield Retail Park. Kerry's sofa store was recently set up by Kerry Thomas, who had been made redundant by a town centre department store. Now this is a case study, so it's an exam level question, so we've got three parts to it. Part 1, identify 2 of the benefits Kerry might gain from locating her business in this Greyfield Retail Park, as you can see is highlighted on the left. Question 2, explain one possible disadvantage Kerry's sofa store may face locating at this site. So look at what else is around there, look at what else in terms of footfall might offer Kerry, and look at what customers might want when they go to that particular retail park. Number 3, suggest and explain an alternative site for Kerry's business. So this is where you come up with your alternative and you justify your decision in box 3. Task 3. Jazz Roberts is planning to set up a delicatessen in a small market town. He would like to concentrate on selling premier expensive food to attract better off customers with high paid jobs. Jazz is considering a number of different sites to set up his shop. Your task, outline the main factors Jazz should take into account when deciding on the best site to locate his business within the town. So this is about you thinking about where the desired target market might live, and how, if Jazz needs to know where they are, so he needs to know where to locate the business, and that's what you need to put into your response in the box. And the dragon's there again, so yes, this is an exam response. So here's your final task, the task 4, and this is pretty much summarising all the 6 lessons we've done on the characteristics. So your job will be to summarise what the characteristics mean for each type of location. So here we're going to link the 2 halves of this particular lesson that we've been doing all on location. So your job, for each characteristic in the left-hand column, you need to write a statement on what each of the locations offers in terms of that characteristic. So here's an example to help you out. The cost of an urban location, it can be pricey, but they're not usually the most expensive. So that will be a simple statement, that's all you need. Rural and cost, not usually expensive. There you go, straightforward as that, because this is going to be a revision table that you're building. Local, remember that's about local high street, so the cost of a local high street. Here I've suggested not usually the cheapest, because the high street is suffering quite a bit in terms of retail parks and shopping centres. So I've said they're not usually the cheapest, but they're not known as the most expensive either, so I'm just left it as that statement. Then there's the cost of a transport hub. Those are the ones like main railway stations, airports, ferries, and we've got to look at that has a huge amount of footfall because of the customers are passing through to get somewhere else. So that's why that tends to be one of the most expensive. So that's a statement I would write there. Next one is a shopping centre. Now I've said that they are very expensive because you've got a captive audience in terms of your footfall, and they tend to have lots of experiences. They have leisure facilities in there as well, so they do like to show that they are a premium location. And the final one, out of town retail parks. They are very expensive sometimes, but they do often actually offer incentives for retailers to move there because they want to get people to relocate to where they are. So that tends to be what happens. There you go. That's an example of what you need to write in each of the columns going across each of the characteristics. So this is about you linking the location across the top to the characteristics down on the left. So your job now is to complete the 6 characteristics. Yep, that's right, I said 6 because I'm not going to leave the words on there that I wrote because I need you to write your own words. So fill in the table. You don't have to do many big huge sentences, it's a revision table after all. Done. That is retail locations and the characteristics all completed and the 4 tasks done. Now we move on to the new learning objective 2.3, which is all about marketing.